my expectations that didn't really go. It's like for things not to go the way that one expects. More general sense of the word expectations. Expectations. Experience where you're learning. Work experience as well, or some sort of apprenticeship, something. Education per se, through the experiences, puberty and growing up, going through puberty personally, and going through teenagers, expecting certain things from life to not appear, or expect certain things to go a certain way that did not necessarily go the way in the direction that I thought it would have gone, and how that taught me a lot about growing up and being a woman in essence, and struggling with gender identity is kind of the expectation of subject that I want to talk about in this video. I don't think I've related more to many other forms of media, whether that be other videos where there are other young women talking about their experiences being a woman, or whether there be a blog post or some sort of website that links to a blog that talks about being a woman, where I found myself relating to certain things in that blog or that video, and finding out I'm not necessarily the only female in the whole world experiencing feelings, perhaps wanting to think differently to go against the norm of being a female, because being a female has its expectations already. Going against those gender norms perspective or point of view, I found that the things that you dreamed of necessarily when you were young follow a path that entailed you showing your strengths in a way where you were able to be unapologetic about it, or perhaps you could show your strengths, but then you were made fun of. It wasn't the norm of a female to act a certain way, talk a certain way, or do things a certain way, breaking norms and making people feel a bit odd by not necessarily empathy as the word, but you'd feel quite like secondhand. I liked the word recently, secondhand. Emotions that you experience at secondhand of yourself or secondhand of others, and how you can provide secondhand feelings to other people more than you might realise. So like the reaction someone has, not necessarily what they genuinely feel about you, like, oh my gosh, this person is a close friend of mine, a family member, and I love them, but actually no, it's not that. It's more, I can't believe they did that or said that, like what? Whether there's the reason for that is the first time they've ever done those things before, and that's why they were secondhand, or it would have just been because of the fact that they didn't expect it from you. Some people, I've noticed, come across in a way where they don't necessarily look like what, like if something happens and somebody acts a certain way and then you think, I never thought that would come out of her, or I never thought that would come out of that person. Those kinds of things, how you see something firsthand, let's say there's a fight or something, and then you realise maybe you don't like confrontation or something firsthand. You try to avoid confrontation even though it wasn't your confrontation that you witnessed. And it's these things as like a backup dancer would, so there's like somebody who's on stage and they make the show, and then your backup dancer, clicking your fingers and whatever, and you can see, you're happy for whoever's performing, but at the end of the day you don't necessarily perform in that position. You don't perform as a backup dancer, so you get to see a lot of firsthand how the main character or the main performer copes with performance anxiety or stage fright, those kinds of things. So that can appear in anywhere, really, anywhere in life, like any job or any situation or circumstance or scenario where out of nowhere you could feel panic, especially if you're really experienced but mental health issues. But I wasn't really going to go into mental health issues. It's just kind of the expectations of female woman growing up into a woman and going through puberty. Because of my discovery of a lot of different things, I found that the fact that you kind of expect something out of life because you're a certain gender. Being a female, you sort of expect certain things from the world, but then it's like those kinds of expectations kind of teach you that maybe those expectations aren't necessarily something that you're going to be gratified or given solutions for, or given answers to the questions that you have. More so, it's just going to have to be you keeping on expecting things from the world, but then politely understanding that life doesn't work that way, where you just get what you expected. And I think I've had a lot of that, like in one way or another, talking about it without talking about it. And I've noticed there's this trend lately of people talking about things without talking about things, and I think that's kind of where I wanted to go with this conversation, really, is like learning and going to school is amazing, but you don't necessarily get to learn certain things. You have to learn on your own, obviously, but those kinds of things that I've learned on my own recently consist of like talking about things without talking about things. So like addressing a topic but finding the words to describe how to talk about it without bringing up the keywords, because of the fact that your mind is a muscle and trigger words can really impact you in certain ways. And I just found that for me, certain words impact me if I'm talking to somebody about it. But yeah, the way my life went, I think, with certain things when it came to gender and how negatively it impacted my growth as a woman or as an adult, just seeing certain things in myself where I feel like I expected so much more from an experience. And I don't know, maybe it's because of being a female, you get obviously marketed towards considering all the marketing that women or women in general are marketed towards when it comes to beauty or anything. You feel the need to buy something that might change how you feel, so then somehow changes the expectations of your life, and you expect your life to go a different way and then doesn't, and you kind of feel like disappointed, like, oh, I bought this product to do something, to make myself feel pretty, for example, or beautiful, and it doesn't make me feel that way. And those kinds of barriers you go through and no one really prepares you for, which is kind of a traumatizing experience personally. And being marketed to as a woman when it comes to romance as well, I think has been one of the most negatively devastating, horrendous experiences when it comes to the world around me trying to advertise things like marriage or relationships or love, especially love, to women. And it's, for example, periods, and then nobody talks about that. Why are there so many romantic comedies, or like a young girl, and maybe somebody like an adult parental guidance advised or an adult like took you to the shops to buy you a nice dress for your birthday or for some sort of event, and you'd go there to buy the dress or the clothes, and you think, wow, like obviously it'd take a lot of effort to find the right clothes that fit you. Quote unquote, well, I'm just quoting myself right now, but I don't really have anyone to quote. I'm just speaking for myself, my personal experience. And you'd try on a dress and you'd think, wow, like I like this dress, it's really cute, and like nice looking outfits or like things to wear for somebody else, but for me it was kind of what I like to do. I like to layer things from a young age. So I kind of took inspiration from shows that I'd watched on the television, and they were kids' TV shows, television shows, so I could be aware of. And then, yeah, so my expectations from certain things being like not met because of the way, I guess, females are marketed to, even women. So like being really young, seeing things being marketed to somebody older than me, or a person that is older than me and is a female, and I was younger and I was a smaller person, I wasn't an adult, I would see it as like it was being marketed to them. I could tell it wasn't being marketed to me, like whether it was a perfume or makeup. When I would see them being marketed to adults, I'd see how that marketing would impact me as a young person, because obviously as I would think when I grow up I'm gonna need that or something. So, and how I kind of expected life to be easy, or some sort of like movie where you have like your favorite perfume on your bedside table, and then you wake up one morning and you spray it, and then you brush your hair and you do your makeup and whatever. Push forward and keep positive, and go get some schoolwork, go to school, the address of where your school is, go to school perhaps at that age with all that on, make friends, go out, like spend some time with your friends at lunchtime, eating lunch boxes, and then going home and putting on your night PJs and going to sleep. And in reality, obviously, your life would have a lot of different more obstacles than those. So, or having really high standards or high expectations from yourself, from others, from life is not necessarily a bad thing. If you keep setting high expectations on yourself without showing yourself any, and compassion, that's the word, and not force yourself to kind of just do what's expected of you. Sometimes you might not meet the expectations or meet the standards of others that they put on you. Yeah, maybe they wanted more out of you, to be better or whatever, or behave up to your most behaved possible you could be. You learn a harsh lesson on your life is, you don't live for the satisfaction of other people. You don't live for the mere satisfaction of other human beings. Feeling like you're not enough all the time because of this expectation set by other people. And sometimes why not surprise people with that and show them that no, I don't necessarily need to spend my living life, breathing years to you owe anybody anything. Nobody owes anyone anything. In reality, your life trajectory should depend on the satisfaction or people pleasing of others, and unfortunately that's quite a common case with women. From what I've realised is sometimes when you are a people pleaser, expectations of your own don't get met, and you have to meet other people's expectations. Yeah, so that's all I have to say for this video, for this subject or topic to talk about. I actually think that's all I really wanted to share, and I don't think I have anything else left to share. Hopefully I might find something to talk about another time and make another video, but for now, I hope you like what I've spoken about and shared with you guys in this video. If you found it interesting and you could relate to some of the points that I made, feel free to give it a like, and if not, there's always another video out there, and you can keep scrolling and not give it a like and just exit and press the exit button where there's an X and turn the video off. So thank you very much and goodbye.